Thank you for joining us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs. Today we'll be looking at Brigade Games model The Hitman. That's what it's called. It's part of their Drug War Z line. Now this is one of their more expensive single models, so for $6 you get a single guy. So if you'll notice by the combed hair and little goatee and the glasses, has a awful similar look to one of the characters out of the Sicario movies there. That's how I'll paint them up. Now, extra thick weapon so it can survive the molding process, but we can live with that. Mold lines, almost non-existent. Hair looks pretty decent there. So we'll go ahead and try to get this guy on his base and see how he fares compared to the rest of the collection. I've got my guy cleaned up and mounted on his base. Appreciate that the whole slot is filled with the little tab there. Probably the most difficult part is just getting the top of this weapon system and down into the arm cleaned off. Otherwise, hair turned out beautiful. Very good. Now the reason I bought him was to supplement existing miniature ranges. So it fits in great with Studio Miniatures 28mm. Just a great match for height and bulkiness of the figures and the thickness of the weapon systems. Something else that also works well is North Star and Funky Skull Games. Similar height and weight and thickness of weapons makes for a good match there. Now something else I also like to use is Anvil Industry. And you can see the weapon systems match. He's kind of crouching, but their heights are pretty similar. So good fit in with Anvil Industry. The only issue might come in when you do something that's a 28mm true scale, like Baba Yaga from Spectre Miniatures. He just comes in a touch taller, and his pistol's thinner than like his weapon system. So they're close. They're not a perfect match, but they'll work on the table. Now let's see how he looks compared to some of my terrain. Now I have the Hitman on two of my terrain tiles. So you can see him moving through the urban jungle there. And he's surrounded by a lot of the MCP terrain. It's my preferred 28mm wargaming terrain for urban games. Even though it's designed for 40mm, this stuff works great for 28mm. You can really cheat the eye on the difference in scales. So you can see he actually looks like he could ride in that car. Now I threw in a die-cast taxi that I bought from a grocery store for $5. It fits the theme. It is a bit big for the 28mm guys, but for $5 it makes good scatter terrain in a pinch. So this guy at $7 is one of the more expensive models, but he's one of the cooler ones. So it's a definite buy, especially if you're a fan of some of the Sicario movies. You can go ahead and get them. So thank you for joining us at Miniature Wargaming Labs, and we'll see you next time.